We are back for another Christian review of regular books, and today we are discussing Triptych, which is the first book in the Will Trent series by Karen Slaughter. If you've never seen one of these videos before, here's how it's going to go down. First, I do my regular review, what you know and love to expect from a book review, and then we get into my Christian review, and that's where I go over the basic pieces of a book that may or may not have a fellow believer or, frankly, anyone wanting to read it. I do give far more information and any caveats you may need at the video pinned to the top of the playlist, or you can click here somewhere. Let's go ahead and get into my regular review. Triptych is the first book in the Will Trent series. I had gotten an arc to the most recent book out in the Will Trent series last year, and so I needed to pick up the first book at least and start my way through the process. I did end up reading the remaining books in the series, but I am going to give you each of these Christian reviews separately because there's over 10 and there's no way that I can make that into one long video for you guys. So we're just gonna get it in pieces and it's gonna be fine. This is the thing, Triptych is nothing like the rest of the books in the series. After reading Triptych, I was highly concerned that I was not going to enjoy the most recent book or even any of the other books in the series. And I was pleasantly surprised when that is not how it turned out for me. This book, and honestly the entire series, reminded me so much of Law & Order SVU, but with less of the SVU aspect. It reminded me of the main characters and all of the dynamics of the nice police storyline and figuring out who done it, etc., etc. So much fun. Each of these books is considered to be an interconnected standalone. However, I would recommend reading them in order because you get a lot of information about the character, especially the main male character, Will Trent, and the side characters that you will miss if you read the books out of order. I will say, however, you could completely miss this first one and you will be just fine. Triptych is very much a graphic, intense cop thriller. It was fun and interesting in some ways, but overall there was a lot of aspects added to the storyline that probably could have been removed. The aspects that were graphic were just too long, and then the storyline was not enough. If we had flipped it, I think we would have had a better time. I definitely would have. I am happy to tell you though that if you don't like this book or if you don't want to read this book, you could go on to reading the second one and get all of the information that happens in the first book, even with the characters, without any of the depictions that happen quite frequently within Triptych itself. Despite the aspects that I did not enjoy, I did really enjoy learning about Will Trent. I enjoyed the overall storyline and the character dynamics, and I do love the experience of this kind of Law & Order or Law & Order SVU feeling. I ultimately rated this book 2.75 stars. If you're wanting to see everything that I'm reading and rating in real time, you can do so by following me on Goodreads. I'm also on Instagram, TikTok, and I do have my own YouTube channel, so if you're wanting more of my day-to-day reading and life journey, you can click down in the description box and check it out over there. Now let's go ahead and get into my Christian review. The first category is smut or spice because it's popular, and there isn't smut or spice directly. There is not any explicit spicy scenes in this book. However, one of the victims and the characters around the victims is a sex worker. So you're still dealing with a lot of spice or mature content around spice, even when you're not dealing with explicit spice itself. The second category is explicit language, and yeah, there's a lot of explicit language. I have a belief that this is probably pretty common for the way that police officers speak, especially police officers I know tend to speak a little bit more fluently with their explicit language. However, it's there, so if that's something that you don't want to read, this is probably not the book or series for you. The third category is violence or gore, and again, yeah, it is extraordinarily gory. Now, for those of you guys who don't know, I actually can read a lot of gory or graphic scenes and not necessarily take it into my brain. I have a hard time envisioning the descriptions in most books. However, in this book, not only did I have no problem, but even for me, it was a bit much. It's a bit squeamish. I will tell you that future books are not like that. So if this book is not for you, please trust me that the rest of the series does not have the same feel. I feel like Karen Slaughter just came out the gate kicking with this series and then made a sharp left turn. and changed her ways. This book specifically in Triptych is appropriate for ages 18 and up. There is just so much content in here that is very intense. And truly, the amount of description around gore was probably just not necessary when it comes down to it. Before you go, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you can stay up to date on all of these Christian reviews of regular books, plus me and my mom's podcast, The Journey We Share. Not only does it help us along with our numbers and all of that sort of stuff, it also helps us behind the scenes know that what we're creating as content is content you want to be seeing. We are a nonprofit, so every like, subscribe, bell hit, things like that help us know what kind of content we need to be providing for you. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell on your way out, and I cannot wait until I see you on the next one.